Okay, so a couple of things that I have noticed problem-wise that I'm going to go over. These are kind of like quick editing tips. What does this mean when you open up your project and you see this?
You didn't save it, right?
Didn't say what? Say that again.
You didn't save it to the computer.
What didn't I save to the computer?
Clips.
You were loading it from the
Clips, audio, pictures. and-
Yeah,
and
so
stuff
you've
you
lost
did.
all of your media. Your media. You've lost all your media and your clips. See, I'm trying to say these words so that you know what you might hear on the test. Your clips are now not linked. So how do we link these? Does anybody know how we link these clips back up?
You gotta get your SD card.
Okay, well, let's say that I have my SD card and I loaded it onto the computer, because this has happened to at least one person in here. So I loaded my SD cards onto the computer, but I never removed my SD card. So when I imported my clips, I imported them from the SD card, but I had loaded them on the video drive. So why isn't it working?
It's not recognizing the folder you're taking it from.
Exactly. I loaded my clips in from the SD card, not from the video drive. So if I go over here and I right click and I go to link media, there's a way that I can find this really easily. What is that way?
Ask Carolyn.
No, that is the wrong way. So I'm going to go, oh, wait, yeah. I'm going to go to the computer. So this computer is going to look at all these things, right? And what piece of clip am I looking for? That's right, 248. So I'm going to go over here to the search, and I'm going to do 248 G
Carolyn,
20.
Carolyn, you gotta start over.
Oh, damn it. Oh, it's not working on it. Oh, it is. What did I do?
You actually hit enter.
4, 8,
Who do we appreciate?
G,
There it is.
2, 0,
So we'll be right into
9, 2. It's not on here.
I think it's 2. There's a 20 and a 2992 because that was on
Yeah.
there. Or-
So, but as I'm doing this search, you see what's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, things are coming up. Now, how do I know where these things are located?
Up top,
Up top, I don't see anything.
all the way up top.
You have to go to the properties, don't you, and see where it's located.
This tells me that my project, this tells me where my project is, but
Don't you got like
here,
the properties on the floor?
I have to right click and do open file location. And then it's gonna show me, okay, this is on C. Young, material for career fair, call me maybe little kid. So that's where it's gonna tell me where it's at. What are you laughing at, Chucky?
The title of
Yeah.
So again, it's right click, open file location, and that'll tell me where it's at. Then once I find the clip that I'm looking for, I click on it, and I say select. I say select. And now it's not reading any of these. Well, that's fantastic. All right, let's pretend like it worked. Skip. Oh, I did that. There we go. And then as soon as you link it, it'll show up. If it's in your timeline, will it show up?
It showed on the timeline.
Yeah. So it'll replace all your clips in your timeline, or replace all your clips in your. Okay. Another thing that I've noticed is I get this all the time. My project is missing. I don't know what happened to it. Premiere has eaten my project. It does not exist anywhere.
Maybe it's in the water.
Someone went and deleted my project. So when you open up your project for the first time, do me a favor. Double check that you haven't accidentally put it in someone else's folder. So for example,
I put one in Dylan Hoffman one time by accident.
I put this in a folder called Carolyn Premiere Files Camera Tutorial. So if I just go on to my computer and I look for the camera tutorial project, I'm not gonna be able to find it because it is in 4 containing folders. So it's basically 4 places deep in my computer. So create yourself a folder on the B drive and then just get into the habit of putting all your stuff in that folder. You can create other folders inside your folder, but just always make sure that that folder is up when you start your project. And where are we looking for that folder at?
Video.
Video
Do not put-
projects.
Do not save video on the C drive,
Do not say, why, Chuck?
because it'll really mess with the computer, and it slows it down. It's not where it belongs,
Do you know why?
because it doesn't belong there.
But do you know why it slows it down?
Yeah, because it's got all that stuff it has to process, and it,
So the main reason why the project, the Premiere software, is on the C drive.
and then that's what causes, everything to say not
So,
responding.
so when Jim partitioned this, he basically created 2 hard drives that can access media at different times. If you put your video on the same drive that your software is on, it's trying to access your software and read your video at the same time, which bogs down the machine, where if you have your software on one drive and your video on the other, you've got 2 free spinning things that can read it simultaneously. So if there's any video on that C drive, it really does bog down the machine. What can I do to make sure there is no video on the C drive? I think we'll all do this right now to help me out.
Well, I guess we have to look.
Now, how will we look?
Go to computer.
So we would go to computer.
Mhm.
So everyone do this. Everybody got computer up? On your particular drive, or your particular computer? And then I want you to go to the C drive,
Yep.
and then I want you to do a search. And we're gonna do asterisk dot MPG, is that right? Is that what our file extensions are? Then hit enter and see if anything comes up. See if there's any clips. There's no clips on this computer.
They're on this
C
computer.
drive. Anybody see any MPEGs on their C drive? Oh, do you?
Mhm.
Really?
Yep. This is movie clip though. I don't know. It's from
Little
826.
Detroit.
Yeah, Little Detroit. Whatever that is.
Yeah, that's
August
on the
26th.
C drive.
It's
So.
like the first week or 2 or something.
I don't even know what that is. But it doesn't matter, what are we gonna do?
Delete it.
Yep, so go ahead and just delete those 2 clips. So that might be why that, didn't you guys say this computer was effing up?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're using a computer and you have an issue with it, very first thing you wanna do is check that and see if there's any MPEG files on there. Now, there will be some MOVs on there because there's some sample videos, but MPEGs means that someone has brought a clip on to the C drive without needing to.
I'm on OSC drive.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And do you see any MPEGs on there?
No, I have to have some Dell and things.
Okay. So, and I'll just warn you, if you accidentally put your stuff on the C drive, it will be deleted. Because we don't have time to run around looking to see whose it is, if it's screwing up your computer. We just need to fix it. I would be surprised if there's not some MPEGs on one of those computers.
Oh, those computers.
I bet you there's a lot on the
I
front.
thought you, did
These
you
front
say
two.
those were crashing too?
Those 2.
The 2 front ones.
These two?
Mhm.
So, okay, so when we start our Premiere project and we launch Premiere Pro, we want to do new project. What's the most important screen here? Oh, what?
You wanna make sure that you're putting it in a video file, video folder,
And where is that information at on this window?
right above the highlight.
Yep, right here where it says location, you have got to go to the video projects, select, well, and this is, I'll put it in that folder, Carolyn Young Spring, 2014. So now I am sure that this is in the right place. And if you create a project without double checking those, that information, and then later on, let's say 3 or 4 days from now, you realize that you goofed and you put it in the wrong place, one thing that the Premier does is it's gonna automatically, as soon as you create that project, it's gonna create 2 things that are your friend. It's gonna create Adobe Premiere render videos or preview videos, and it's gonna create Adobe Premiere autosave. And why is autosave your friend, that folder?
This way, it saves you from having to go back and do things that you have done that normally it wouldn't save, and you'd have to start over.
Right, so you're editing, you've been editing for half an hour, you're like me, and you don't save early and often. So the computer crashes, and the last time you saved it was a half an hour ago, so you've lost all that work. So what do?
Now, I just
No.
start,
Got autosave.
Yeah, so you go to the file folder that says Premiere Autosave that is in the containing folder that you created your project in, and you will see all your autosave folders or all your autosave projects. When you do that though, if you open up an autosave project, resave it as a different project. Don't utilize that autosave project as your project because it'll totally screw up your autosave. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Oh, what's this? Do I care about this screen?
Your
Yes.
sequencing.
So what does it mean to me?
Now, where you're gonna save your project.
Nope, it has nothing to do with the way you save your
The
project.
resolution of your sequence.
Yes, all this is doing is creating the sequence for my project. So for this, if I shot 1920 by 1080, I would need to find a 1920 by 1080 60 frames a second, and I think there's only one on
It's
there, right?
HD, or, yeah, HD cam or whatever, or HD maybe.
It's 1080i, 60, there it is, 1920 by 1080.
At 48,000.
Is there another way that I can create a sequence that's
Yeah,
easier
you
than
can drop your
that?
sequence into the.
That little piece of paper right there.
Right.
well, see what
Brittany, you getting all this?
Alright, so if I just grab this and drop it right here, it's gonna create a sequence. How can I make sure that that sequence is correct? Is there any way where I can find out information about this
On
stuff in my
top, up
bin?
top of your bin.
Exactly, the top of my bin, it tells me what the sequence size is, it tells me what the audio sample rate is, and it tells me what the frames per second are. And these match. And these match. The only other thing you need to know is, hopefully at this point, you guys know what the names of all these windows are. What is this? What is the name of this window?
Jerry.
Your project bin.
Ben?
This is your bin, yeah. This is your bin window. What's the name of this?
Timeline.
Your timeline, what is this?
Your program.
Yeah, your program, your record monitor, or your timeline window, whatever you want to call it, but that's what it is. What is this?
Source
Preview.
window.
Your source window. What is this little squiggly thing here?
It's endpoints.
Yeah, what's the little squiggly point there?
Output.
Yeah, in point, out point.
What's rated for this?
Yes, that's Brady. I
That's
called this
Ryan
up
Sleater
especially
and
for you
Brady
guys.
Sleater.
Oh, that's,
What is this right here?
Yeah, your work, bar.
Yeah, this is my work area bar. Why do I care about this?
Because when you go to export,
Read.
you make sure that
Ryan,
it has the whole, work bar.
Yeah, and you guys really need to watch this because not one, not two, but 3 beauty shots came in at 6 minutes. Were they actually 6 minutes?
No.
No, what do you think
All
happened?
the work bar was exceeded.
Yeah, the work bar was extended, so y'all rendered out a whole bunch of black that was unnecessary. So you need to make sure that this is just encompassing your clip. What else does this do for you? if I stick a bunch of clips down here,
You can extend it or shrink it down.
You mean like a snap tube?
I hate that
Yeah,
snap
that's-
thing.
That's a tool.
So if I do this,
You talking about ripple building?
if I put a bunch of crazy Dylan moves on these things.
Alright now.
So I go down here to video transitions and I put the displays here and I put
What does a
3D
That's not.
and I put, what's happening to, what do these red things mean?
Hip brace,
They're not
glasses
rendered.
and leather.
They're not rendered. What's render mean?
Means they're not the same, sequence of your project.
They're not the same sequence as my
Well,
project.
It's not the
sequence is
same,
last word we
quality.
used, so it's stuck in my head. Yeah, quality, 1080 or however you have your project
Does
saved.
anybody know what thing, when something needs rendered, do you know what's happening in the render process?
It's making sure that everything is on the same,
So when I play this,
Ooh.
it's not really playing too smooth.
Nope.
Do you agree with that?
Ugh.
Now that one played smooth. This is a real-time effect. That's a real-time effect. This is not. So here's the thing, one of those important terms. When you render something, you remember I told you there were 2 file folders that the Premiere is going to make for you when you create that project. One of them was your autosave folder. The other one was your rendering folder? Yeah, your rendering folder is also called Adobe Preview files. The Adobe Preview files, or the rendering files, it's actually as soon as that red line turns green, it is creating a clip. So when we're watching this and it's got a red line over it, it is using the RAM of the computer to play this clip. So to play that effect, it's using RAM. What is RAM?
Random access memory.
And what does that mean to people?
Well, it's volatile, so it means when you turn it off, it goes away.
Right. So just, this is, someone told me this, I think it's a really good analogy. So your RAM memory is like this plate, and it can only hold so much stuff. And so it'll let you sample this food a couple of times. But let's say I have 50 effects in there, and I haven't rendered one of them. It's going to use the RAM, but what's going to happen is it's going to run out of RAM memory. So it's going to play those first 25, then it's going to have to go in, it's going to have to throw away that first one that it played, replace it with number 26, throw away the second one that played. So do you think that's good for the computer?
Nope.
No. It's thinking way too much, and that's probably when you're going to get crashes, it's going to play horribly. So if we are happy with the first part of our effects, or we like some of these effects but we're not sure about the others, so I only want to render, let's say, this effect. How can I do that? How can I only render that effect?
well, you
That's
place
right.
the timeline.
I can grab this work area bar, I can shrink it down so that it is just over this effect. Now if I hit enter, the only thing that it's going to render is that.
Okay.
So, and did you see what it said when it was rendering it?
Just said one.
It said video preview. So where do you think that file is going?
Just say.
Remember those 2 file folders that I said the Premiere creates?
Yeah.
When you create that project?
Yeah.
One of them is autosave, and the other one is Premiere Preview files. So that's where those rendered files are going. So here's another thing that can screw up the performance of these computers. Scratch disk. Does anybody know what a scratch disk is?
Disc, the scratch.
So the scratch disk is basically where it's gonna put all this stuff. And in a perfect world, when you open up Premiere, it's gonna take all the stuff that you're doing and put it in your project folder. Do we live in a perfect world? No. So one thing you might wanna do when you start out is check some of the preferences here. So, where are the preferences? So under here, we got preferences. So I'm gonna go to General. Well, while we're in this, look at this auto save. Automatically save every 20 minutes. You can change this if you want. If you're someone who doesn't save often, you can say, automatically save every 5 minutes and give me 15 versions of my project, which means that it's gonna save every 5 minutes and then every 15, so it'll save 15 versions of your project. When it gets to 16, what do you think it's gonna do?
That's cool. And when it goes to 16?
Yeah, so you said I wanna save 15 versions
It's
of my
gonna save.
project. What's it gonna do when it gets to 16?
It'll save.
It'll throw out project 1 and put in 16. Yes? Did you find
If you go to
spreadsheets?
project and then project settings, that's where it is. No project.
Project settings. Oh, there it is. So this should always be on same as project. Occasionally, it will get changed to this. So where's it gonna save on?
Documents.
Where do you think documents is located? The C
C
drive. So if it's saving to the C drive, guess what? You're gonna have all kinds of issues. So you wanna make sure that your video is same as project along with all these. So all this should be same as project. So what is the scratch disk? I was asking what the scratch disk is.
Scratch
That's where it's
is,
saved to.
What?
is,
That's where
That's
it's where it's saved to.
Yeah, it basically, it lays out the path of where everything is gonna be saved to. Okay, so you need to know what scratch disk is. How can I access my autosave?
in save file.
Yeah, saved.
In save file, so let's say that, oh, this isn't working. Oh, there it is. Okay, so let's say that, I forget to save this. What did I set my autosave up for?
Every 5 seconds.
No, not every 5 seconds. Don't never set your autosave up for every, like even every 1 minute, you're gonna have issues. You're not gonna be able to edit anything because when it saves, it ties up to your project for a moment. So you probably wanna make sure that it, goes ahead and saves, 5 minutes is probably
Or
as
every
short
5
as you
minutes.
wanna go. Yeah, so this was saving every 5 minutes and I said 15 versions. I don't know if this has been up for 5 minutes. What are these? Video 1, 2, 3, audio 1, 2, 3.
Your second audio track, third audio track, your
Yes,
second
they're
video
tracks,
track.
right?
Yes.
They're tracks. Can I have an indefinite number of tracks? Could I have 30 video tracks and 30 audio tracks?
No. Well, you can, well, depending on your, RAM or your
Yeah, the
your
what-
hard drive.
So the more audio or video tracks that I have, the slower it's gonna be. And there's a certain point where it's actually gonna ruin the compression rate. So you're gonna start to see a little bit of digital artifacts in it. But yeah, I can have as many tracks as I want. What's the difference between this audio and,
You have your main audio, then you have, or your next audio usually for effects. You have your main audio, and then you have addition.
so do you see any difference between these two tracks? Audio 3 and 4? The way they look? No, it's really small. Audio 3 and 4, don't see any difference in the
Three
way
and
those,
four.
in the way those
Not
audio tracks
particularly,
look.
They, not particularly,
Not particularly. Okay, so I'm gonna try and lay, some audio on. So I'm just gonna lay this audio on audio 4.
Oh, you
I can't. Why can't I? Oh,
because it's,
I know what's wrong. The Premiere is
Okay.
broken and I need to go get Carolyn.
no, you can see the bow tie on the 3.
oh, you can see the bow tie?
Yeah,
Well, it
so
looks
what
like a
is
bow
the
tie.
difference between the bow tie and the non-bow tie? What? Nope, it has nothing to do with the in point and out point.
Connection,
So this, audio
To the
3, has a little L and a little R. What do you think the little L and
It's
little R
stereo.
stand for?
left and right.
Left and right, stereo. Audio 4 doesn't
Mono.
have a little L
Mono.
and little R.
So it'd be mono.
So it's mono. Can I lay a stereo track on a mono track?
Nope,
Can I lay a mono track on a stereo track?
nope.
Nope. So if you're working on your project and suddenly you can't lay audio on certain tracks, what's wrong?
Mono.
Yeah, it's, you either have stereo that you're trying to lay on mono or mono that you're trying to lay on stereo. What can I do to fix that?
You can feel right.
Nope, I can't take mono and turn it up.
Well,
On
you have
stereo.
to make a stereo track from a mono, you have to have 4 different,
Imported as such.
to make a
So,
stereo.
whenever we do that fill left and fill right, we've got a stereo track. It's just that we only recorded audio on one channel. So it's still a stereo track, we're just filling one of those channels. But when we have a mono track or a stereo track and we don't have the right audio, we have to go up and add the correct track. So we can go up to sequence, we can do add track, and here it says audio tracks, but I have a different option here. I can add a stereo, or I can add a mono, or I can add a 5.1. What do you think we're recording in when we're using the cameras?
I mean, stereo.
Yeah, so we're using stereo, but when you guys had to do that horrible Australian edit back in TV Prod 1,
It was 5.1.
no, it was actually
The
mono.
mono.
Yeah, yeah. So you just need to add the correct audio track. Please be aware of that. If I don't have audio on one channel but I have it on the other, what do I do?
Then you feel.
And how do I know what to fill and where do I get the fill?
Depending
If you
on,
do not have audio on one track,
Yeah, so let's say I'm missing the left audio.
okay.
then you feel left, I guess.
So if I go to audio effects, I've got fill left and fill right, and it is exactly opposite of what you would think. So if I'm missing audio on the left channel,
You feel
I
right.
fill right,
Okay.
because I want to take the audio that's on the right-hand channel and put it on the left-hand channel. And finally, what about audio levels? How is this audio level?
12 dB.
Actually, it's low.
Yes, so remember, 12 doesn't mean this is the highest that it goes.
No.
What does 12 mean?
That means that's a kind of a
Where
standard,
you
but
want it
it's
to be
all
in
right
the
if it's in the yellow.
Yeah, that's, we want it to live in the 12 area, so how do I fix that?
Well, you right click in the audio, in there, got an audio gain,
I'm gonna try to normalize all peaks
All
to negative
-12.
6.
Oh, negative 6. That's still, wow.
Hi, I'm Brady.
Okay, there it is.
I'm here to tell you the Whiteboard 6000 will change your classroom.
Oh my God.
You'll find not one color, not two colors, but a rainbow of colors.
I
I'd
think
go-
I'd still bring it up
That's
just a little
better,
bit
but I'd
more.
go negative 7.
Well, you go the opposite way.
Oh, that's 4.
So y'all know how to do this, right?
Hi,